Hello, everyone. My name is André from Bola Laranja's podcast. This is a very special episode for our podcast because we're going to have the first international guest in Bola Laranja's podcast. In my side is Jake Fischer from Yahoo Sports, one of the most known NBA reporter and analyst in the United States. So we're going to interview him in like 20 or 30 minutes in this podcast, and it's an honor from Bola Laranja to have the first international guest here. So, what's up, Jake? How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Thanks for asking. And again, I appreciate your time. And it's going to be very interesting to have someone who is really close to NBA, to players, to
Yeah.
everybody, because down here in Brazil, we are far away and we need to go to the bed very late to watch the games. Yesterday, I watched Dallas and Suns, and I went to the bed like 2 a.m., but it was really nice to watch the game. Uh, I would like to start, Jake, asking you. We have the same question for all the guests that we have here, Brazilian players and any other podcast friends that we have already interviewed in our podcast, which is how you start liking basketball, how your career becomes to go to the basketball side, graduating as a journalist. And I see on your LinkedIn that you were on Bleacher Report and now you are in Yahoo Sports. And from the beginning, when you was a kid, you started liking basketball, and after that, how you became a very known NBA reporter and analyst.
Yeah. Thank you, man. No, it's kind of crazy that to be here and talk about it in that regard, because yeah, I mean, basketball was always just something that I loved. I remember we had a little concrete slab in my backyard with a hoop that we were out there every day. My sister used to play with me and my brother and my dad too, and then she kind of phased out. And I played all throughout high school. Um, and I was always kind of a more headier player than an athletic one, you know. So I knew my time was gonna come up, and I knew from always having good rapport with my coaches that I kind of thought the game a little bit okay. And I thought that, and I love to write. I always loved to write as a kid, so I thought that I'd be able to combine the two and be able to do this. So I actually my varsity basketball team halfway through my junior year of high school, and like fully dove into my school newspaper, because the school newspaper in New Jersey, the state that I'm from, in America, from South Jersey, right outside Philadelphia, it's still ongoing to this day. From before I was there till I graduated high school in 2012 till now it's been awarded year after year after year the best high school newspaper in the state of New Jersey. So shout out to Greg Gagliardi and Eastside. I had a really strong head start when I got to college and when I got to my internships. And I think I always had a crisper sight line and a better idea of how the industry worked than people my age and everyone who was at my high school paper did, because we had a kind of unfair advantage starting earlier. It was like a college level newspaper for 4 years of high school. So when I got to college, I'd already kind of had that experience. And when I got into newsrooms at internships and stuff, I wasn't very good at the time, but I knew how the game and I knew business worked and how the craft of interviewing and writing combined. Um, so I was trying to get good at it probably earlier than other people were.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Um, and now I saw that on your, I think your Twitter, that you are, of course, most known as an NBA reporter, but you also have some other sports, like I don't know if you report for any other sport like NFL or stuff like that, or
Just
it's just
basketball.
just
Yeah, just
basketball.
basketball. I
Okay.
have covered, and in my career I have done some stuff here and there, on football and baseball and whatever. I covered wrestling when I was at the Boston Globe in college at the high school level. I did lacrosse and field hockey. Like I've done it all, but the last since I got out of college, the last 6 years has been completely NBA.
Oh, it's nice. It's nice. The sport that we all love. Okay, so let's continue. And I would like to know from you about your book. I saw your book, and it's called
Thank you.
Build to Lose. It's very very interesting, and it's about the how the NBA's tanking area has changed the all NBA, because we are talking about that in our podcast a lot. Who is going to get Victor Wembanyama next year? Because everybody's in this conversation. Everybody wants to lose to get Victor Wembanyama next year and be prepared for be champion like from 5 years from now. Okay. And I would like to know more about that, how you get this idea, and a little bit on how it works, because we know that they sometimes lose on purpose to be the worst team in the NBA and get the first draft pick. But I would like to know more, and I saw that it's a really, really interesting book.
Thank you. Yeah, the book's gotten pretty decent interest, so I'm grateful for that. And if anyone listening wants to buy it, that'd be great too. It just came out in paperback on October 11th, so if you like a paperback more than a hardcover, there you go. And covering, I was working for the Sixers blog at SB Nation, Liberty Ballers, during the process years of Sam Hinkie. So I think ultimately that was another big piece in my career, where that I was at the center of the hurricane, right? Where the process Sixers losing and losing and losing, and the injuries and the draft picks and the injuries, and Sam Hinkie not talking and being this kind of character that put me in a position to really kind of earn my stripes and cover a hot button topic that was getting a lot of attention. And then when I was at SI and I was looking for more writing opportunity, I figured at the time that writing a book could be something that could help me a little bit, and that was the topic that I was probably most close with. Like, people on the league knew that I knew about that subject matter. They knew that I was from Philly and that I was on the ground covering Sam Hinkie, and that I liked Sam Hinkie and that I had a good relationship with him. So, which I wrote about in the book. Like, him and I went to lunch very early in my career and his tenure in Philly, or dinner, excuse me, after summer league one night and what have you. So, I think it was just a matter of time that I wanted to try to write the book, and it was the subject matter that I thought was the most interesting that I could do, because the publishing industry is hard. You need to be able, it's like a business plan and the job interview. You need to tell publishers that this book needs to exist because it has a market, and that you're also the right person to do it. So that's a tough task, but I do feel validated in that it's still being talked about right now, especially with the Wembanyama situation. And on top of that, I think it's the Sixers are still a thing because of Joel Embiid. Like, as long as he's living and breathing in the NBA as a superstar, as long as I'm not, I got that was too literal. But yeah, as long as he's in the NBA, as long as Ben Simmons is there, as long as banking is a topic, I think the book will have a shelf life, because it is a really important conversation about how the NBA works.
Yeah, yeah, and we can see that the process is working this year. I think they have a really good team, bringing the Anthony Melton and PJ Tucker and all of those guys, and the process is working. And this is a very very interesting subject, because we know that most of the franchises to build again needs to lose, and on purpose or not. League has done something to avoid that, but like the play-in and stuff like that. But we know that it will continue in the next years, of course, to franchises be able to get the first draft pick. Okay, okay. And now I would like to know about your expectations for this season. We know that we have the ring night. Golden State Warriors won the championship again last year, or last season, and looks like they will be in the first place, top first place and championship contender conversation with any other teams. There is all this drama between Draymond and Poole, if it can affect the Golden State or not. And in the other side, of course, one of the best players of the world, LeBron James, only, I don't know. I watched the first game. I'm a Laker fan, and all I can think is that LeBron is going only to chase Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in this season because the Lakers isn't going anywhere. I would like to hear from you about the expectations for this season.
I think it's going to be a really fun year. There's a wide open title race. Every team I talk to is optimistic, which is not very, it's rare. I think, typically everyone says, oh, I gained 15 pounds of muscle in the off season, right? It's not as universal that every team says, oh, I think they're going to be better this year than last year. So that's a good starting point to be in. Everyone's happy. It feels like the first day of school, but also that's going to create some tension and some drama because not everyone can be right, obviously. Not everyone can win 50 games and make the playoffs and feel like their season was a success. So that naturally is going to present a lot of headbutting. And I think the fact that we do have all those teams, it is reflective of the talent. There are probably 6 teams in each conference that really do have a legitimate shot at winning that conference. So it's going to create a lot of strong play in the regular season, I think, the position for seeding in the postseason. And I think it's going to create, I think the playoffs are just what they are now. I think we're going to see a lot of 7-game series. I think we're going to see 8 seeds battling 1 seed. I think we're going to see 7 seeds battling 2 seeds. I think it's going to get closer and closer to an NHL, NFL type postseason environment where if you just get in there, you might have a shot because, I mean, there's just so much talent. I mean, look what Luka just does with Dallas. He doesn't really have too much around him in there. I mean, they're all very, very strong role players, but he's not on, the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George. He's not on the Nuggets with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and Michael Porter and Aaron Gordon. And the Suns have this 3-headed monster, right? And you just go on down the list with Memphis and Ja. Like, there's just so much talent in the league right now. I think it's in a really healthy spot, and it's only going to continue to get healthier.
Yeah, a lot of good teams. We were trying to predict the top 4, top 5 teams. You have Golden State, Clippers, Bucks, Celtics, Sixers, a lot of teams, and most players are back that were injured last season, like Kawhi and Jamal Murray. And it's good to us that are NBA fan and a lot of high expectations for this next season. Talking more about specifically your you said that you are very close to the Sixers, and I was talking about the chances of Sixers. Do you think that the Sixers have a really good chance this year with these additions, with the Joel Embiid going to try to get an MVP again? James Harden looks like a really, really good player again. He was very, very great the other night against the Celtics. Do you think they have a chance to win the championship this year?
I think they do. I think they're just as talented as any team in the East. They're just as deep as any team in the East. The Sixers just have some ironing out to do. Boston, the pieces fit seamlessly. They know exactly where Malcolm Brogdon is going to function alongside Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They know that Robert Williams is coming back at some point soon. They know that Grant Williams is in a contract year and he's going to be playing his ass off to try to get every dollar that he thinks he deserves. They know that Marcus Smart is Marcus Smart and he's temperamental, but he's also super important. And, the energy that he brings is pretty essential to that team. So I think with Philly, it's going to be an ongoing work in progress where Harden and Embiid are not the most natural fit. In general, finding post up after post up after post up for Embiid has always kind of been a mucky process rather than finding people more organically in the offense. Jokic, for example, who's obviously been the guy who's beaten Embiid for MVP the last 2 years. He can catch it more at the top of the key in a natural flow of the offense and just go to work, as opposed to Embiid constantly wanting it, 10, 12 feet from the block, and backing his way in and what have you. And Embiid obviously led the league in scoring last year. So that's not to say it's a problem, but it's a different way that, obviously doesn't necessarily blend easily with the James Harden, who dribbled more than many teams himself, night to nightly, throughout Houston. I mean, it's a real thing. He just pounds the rock, pounds the rock, pounds the rock. And we saw the brilliance of him doing that against Boston in their season opener. So it'll be interesting to see how those two guys can actually complement each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And the last questions, Jake, about the NBA being global. We know that here in Brazil, it has been increasing. I think 6 or 7, we're going to have 6 or 7 broadcasts from NBA here in Brazil. This is the record this year, being broadcasted by YouTube or Twitch, or even in TV channels. It's been really increasing, and I can't talk about that because of our podcast. Our Instagram has been increasing, and all of my friends that are in the same page know that it's increasing. We are getting more and more fans around the world. I know that if you compare for the other major sports in the US, of course, basketball is more popular around the world because, of course, it's easier to practice. It's difficult to practice American football or even baseball and basketball. You can go and hoop in any place around the world. So I would like to know about your vision about that NBA is being global. You have Nikola Jokic and also Joel Embiid that are not Americans fighting for the MVP, Luka Doncic, and more players are coming from overseas to play in the US. So I would like to hear from you about that.
Yeah, I think the NBA has made a very concerted effort to become global. They've seen massive business opportunity first really beginning in China. And then obviously they've spent a bunch of time playing games in Mexico of late, in London. They had the Abu Dhabi game this summer. I know, there's plans to get the NBA on all 7 continents. That's certainly, maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but they're trying. Maybe they don't want to go to Antarctica, but they're trying to get this sport all over the world, and that's certainly a conversation that's been brought up and mentioned when people talk about the next TV rights deal coming in 2025 and how much money the league can essentially squeezed out of these broadcast partners, because they are truly billing themselves as the most global professional sport, in that everything you just said is playing a factor, where you can have a kid go with a ball in a dirt court and a little like plastic ring he hung around a milk carton, and that's basketball, So I think that is absolutely a real thing. I think it's tangible, and it's going to be backed up pretty soon by the dollar figures that a lot of NBA teams are going to be up for sale in the next 5 years. That's something I can pretty confidently predict. And the prices of these franchises are going to pretty rapidly approach NFL franchise prices. And I think the TV rights deal is going to be very reflective of that as well.
Yeah. And for us, it's really good to have all of these platforms broadcasting NBA, and we knew a lot of kids that are Steph Curry fans and LeBron James fans, and all of those guys, even the great Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, has helped the league to be global. Okay, Jake, and to finish, we also ask this question for all of our guests. I would like to know which is your top 3 players NBA all times. Can you do that for me?
My favorite or the best?
You can go with your favorite, no problem.
Okay, my favorite's pretty easy. I always loved Allen Iverson, grew up watching him. Shaquille O'Neal, just for the fun and the talent and the personality. And then the third one is that's hard. I think I'm probably gonna have to go with Larry Bird because I was a big
Oh,
fan of watching
nice.
his highlight videos when I was a kid, and then I went to school in Boston, and he was so hailed as such a hero there. That kind of sunk into my mind. So Larry Bird will be my third person.
Okay, and the best is the GOAT, or you have any different opinion?
I mean, to me, soaking everything I've soaked in over the last 10 plus, or I guess it's 10 years now covering the NBA. Um, I would say that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, but
Yeah.
there's been a lot of other great players. There's been a lot of
Yeah,
other great
yeah,
players.
yeah, yeah. I start to like basketball because of LeBron James, and I love him. But I'm with you. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. LeBron is coming second for me, but it's a different opinion for anyone. But Michael Jordan is the GOAT since they released Last Dance and showed it to everybody that Michael is the GOAT. So
Yeah,
Jake, I think this is it. I really appreciate your time. Thank you
yeah,
so
man.
much for that. It will help us a lot. And I hope to see you again in another interviews, maybe for Bola Laranja or any other podcast or any other platform. And I really thank you for that time. And it was really nice to hear from you, from somebody that is really close to the NBA players, to the all NBA environment. And it was really, really nice to talk to you. And I really appreciate your time, my friend.
Thank you, Andre. Good meeting you. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Talk soon. Take care. Okay. Thank you, everyone that have watched this video. And thanks a lot. And see you in the next time. Bye-bye.